With regard to the clinical trials that are being done in children from 6 months to 24 months and from 24 months through 4 years, as you probably know, the original data that was done was determined if the doses that were given to those children reached what we call non-inferiority with a more adult or adolescent population. And the original data that was put forth, it looked like the dose and the regimen for the children who were 6 months to 24 months worked well, but it turned out that the other dose, namely the other group from 24 months to 4 years, did not yet reach the level of non-inferiority. So the studies are continued. It looks like it will be a 3-dose regimen. I don't think we can predict when we will see an EUA with that, because the company is still putting the data before the FDA, and I certainly don't want to get ahead of the FDA because I'm not privy to the data, and even if I were, I wouldn't want to anticipate what the FDA would do. I think we just need to be patient and know one thing for sure, that that's why the system works, because the FDA is very scrupulous in their ability and in their effort to make sure that before something gets approved for people at any age, including and especially children, because of the special vulnerability of the children, that when these vaccines become available for children at those age, we can be certain that they will be safe and that they will be effective. Bottom line, I can't give you a timetable on that. We'll just have to wait and see.
Done if it were my kids, and I could have easily administered vaccines and walked off. But these are little kids. They're babies. At the end of the day, they're little kids. As a parent, it's our job to protect our children, right?
We've covered a lot of stories about big government run amok over the years, but this one is truly shocking. People nationwide are going to be outraged after watching this story, but especially parents. Mind you, this is not an anti-vaccine story, and those you are about to witness are seemingly all good people trying their best to help others in a broken system.
They messed up the vaccine. They were giving out the wrong, they were mixing it with the wrong stuff.
Oh, you were the one that was the bacterial thing?
The saline solution, what color is the top?
It's green. The green, it's green.
They're green.
Yeah.
They should have did like incident reports, no?
Oh, absolutely. That's what anyone would do.
In the rush to get everyone vaccinated, New York contracted with DocGo and their subsidiary Ambulance to provide COVID vaccine clinics in schools, homeless shelters, and street corners throughout New York. However, it appears their poor recruitment process and training were severely lacking and may have jeopardized the safety of potentially thousands of people, including young children.
I'm a registered nurse.
How long have you been administering vaccines for?
I have been in the pediatric field since 2006, and I applied for a job to administer vaccines. The first day I started the work, I felt very uneasy. I felt like I had no support.
I've been here since 4:45. I was on the first location, which was the wrong place, at 5:12. So they decided to call me at 7:36, which means that someone could have already been vaccinated because you had us out and about at 4:45 a.m. this morning. So you wait till 7:36 to call me and tell me that this may be the wrong thing?
When I went the first day, the vaccines was for the ages between 5 and 11. I called the supervisor and I said, how do I dilute this vaccine? He goes, YouTube it. We were never given an in-service, meaning they should have said all the nurses that are giving vaccines, any clinician giving a vaccine, we're going to give a class. There's guidelines to abide by as a nurse administering any vaccines or any medications. There's protocols to follow. They had no protocols.
We're just waiting for our supervisor to call because there may be a little technical issue, so.
Sure.
Yes, I sent you the picture.
Annandale?
All right, thank you. We're good. But he wasn't going to call me back, so.
Oh, he said we're good?
that's what I used the other day, all
Yeah, but that's
day.
not even what I'm saying is that you asked me to send you a picture and you didn't call me back. So I have to call you to say, are we good? Yes, we're good to go.
They're all like
It shouldn't take us to have to do that.
One of my teams that worked, they saw it in the stuff, and I usually work with like another PA and another RN.
Right.
So they saw it in the vial, in the bags, and they're like, oh, this is not the saline. But then once they reached the supervisor, other teams had already given vaccines.
Oh, with the bacteria.
With the bacteria, yeah.
Oh, God. I don't even think they know what could really happen with bacteria.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't know if it could cancel out or have adverse effects, whatever.
There's no ingredient insert in the box of the vaccinations. So I cannot educate a parent on the vaccine, which bothers me because that is my job as a nurse.
Pfizer, the CDC, and the FDA are all very clear about the dosage and mixing instructions of the COVID vaccine. Bacteriostatic water is not to be used.
There's no information to be able to tell me as to what the negative effects could be by using bacterial static water opposed to saline. Whether it negates something or if there was some sort of negative effect.
So at this time, with the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine orange cap or purple cap doses, studies have not been done for any other diluent rather than the 0.9% sodium chloride. So unfortunately, there's not information on if it negates the vaccine or has any effect on it.
We've reached out to multiple medical doctors about this story and the effects this could have on young children. Though the risk of an adverse reaction might be low, none could guarantee there is zero risk. And at the very least, the wrong mixture could cancel out the vaccine. So you have parents going about their daily lives thinking their children are vaccinated, but it's quite possible they are not.
But it was a new thing. Oh, I don't know. It could have been, because I remember I got a text message. I was off. I got a text message from my team like, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what we found in the thing. And they sent me a picture. I was like, call them right away. You cannot mix that with that. But the nurse picked it up right away. She goes, now, our first vaccine didn't come until now. And it was like probably 9 o'clock. So the other team had already started.
Oh,
so once they called the supervisor, they had to call the other teams. And
they already started getting the vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the process, what they did after that. You know how they closed it up. But, yeah. That was it.
They're supposed to give people the saline solution.
Normal
to the
saline
vaccine,
solution.
But instead they're giving them
It was by accident.
by accident.
Correct. They grabbed the wrong solution.
By accident. How are accidents happening with the children?
But that's essentially what happened to these children and it was never reported.
Do the parents know that this?
They don't know. It was never
Is
reported.
it supposed to be reported?
It's supposed, any incident that happens is supposed to be reported and documented.
To tell
Yeah.
everybody, all the kids that got vaccinated.
Oh, that is on some next level. Like, but knowing with this company, honestly,
Probably
they're not
not.
transparent. So they're not gonna be like, listen,
What?
you're not transparent about anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They should have did like incident reports, no?
Oh, absolutely. That's what anyone would do. I remember one time, one of the vials was open. They don't want to waste the doses. So what they were doing, they were saying like, listen, the driver could let them know, and then they would tell the driver, oh, there's a team in Brooklyn, whatever, that still has 10 people waiting, and the nurse is gonna open another vial instead of just throwing out
You
the
had
other
a vial
dosage.
open.
Right. So they're gonna tell the driver to take that vial and drive it to another site. To me, if I was the nurse at that site and they brought that to
wouldn't
me,
take
I
that.
wouldn't take that as
So
a,
they're giving people
I
open
wouldn't-
vials.
no, it's still within the time frame, but I
You-
still
but
don't
you
feel
don't take-
comfortable. You don't know what happened between that time or whatever.
Somebody could put anything in it.
Man, you see
But
what I'm
But they
saying?
were using open vials.
So that's what they were doing because they don't want the waste.
They're about to do for babies and they're not making it just free. Because the first one doesn't work, the second one doesn't work, and the third one also doesn't work. None of them work. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about money and they don't care about the side effects of it when it really happens.
Upwards of 16 million doses have been given to people in New York City alone. Even more concerning, this appears to be happening nationwide.
More than a dozen kids receiving the wrong dose of the COVID vaccine at a pop-up clinic at Sutter Health in Antioch.
Health leaders say it's important to triple check your dose before you administer the shot.
Some parents in Virginia are obviously grappling with the news that their children got the wrong dose.
I am pro-vax all the way.
You're pro-vax.
Pro-vax.
That might shock people.
I am pro-vax 100%, but with this vaccine, I don't have any information to educate you on it. And
Because they don't have the ingredients.
There's no ingredients. In the package, you open it up and it's empty. How could you educate anybody on a vaccine if there's no ingredients?
We reached out to DocGo for comment about this story.
Everyone that comes into our organization goes through an orientation, both practical and it is hands-on. We do not believe that the static water was used in vaccinations for children. We have had circumstances where people have pulled the wrong solution from our warehouse, and then they notice it when they get on site, and then we send a replacement. We certainly have no reported cases of that being done. I still don't think that it has happened. I still don't think we've made that mistake. I think it's a very ethical organization. We focus heavily on doing what's right.
What do you think the reaction is going to be from ambulance and HHS and all these different...
No reaction.
You don't think they're going to do anything with it?
No, because they didn't do anything from the beginning. Nothing. And everybody felt the same way. Every time I walked in to work, everybody had the same complaint as me.
So you wouldn't have a 5-year-old get the vaccine?
I just don't, I mean, if it was my kid, right? I'm recently married.
Oh, congratulations.
I don't know, I just think, they haven't done long-term studies, right?
Right.
They haven't done, like, there's no 10-year study, there's not even a 5-year study. But you have to know, like, your kids are not going to speak for themselves. You being a parent have to do what's best for your children.
As a nurse, it is your due diligence to protect your patients. How could I give anything, a medication, and just not report a medication error? We should receive an in-service on it, or a class, or some sort of documentation. There's nothing. I reached out. I did reach out, and they told me Google it. But there was no incident report. That's a big deal.
Why are you doing this?
I'm a parent. I have 2 children. And I left today, and I told them, I'm doing this for you.
This interview.
Right.
And how did they respond?
They're little. They don't understand. But that's why I had to stop. And what I was